Warning, the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
There it is.
All right. Hello, everybody. And us three are here for the Coach's Box. What do you know what episode it is? 183?
183.
183. Who would have thought all of us delinquents would be able to be on a podcast and all keep our jobs and be at episode 183?
It's almost 4 years to the day.
Oh,
almost 4 years. It's just past 4 years.
Really? 4 years, dude.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. Right here in this lovely basement where it all started. Hey, but imagine that. Jim Powers isn't here.
Listen, don't make them.
How many weeks in a row,
Matt
right?
Schuette's still on assignment. We got Miller on assignment this week.
Listen, stop making Jim any more grumpier than he already is right now.
Gosh, has he been grumpy in the group? What up? I tried to lighten him up, and man, he take it all serious.
Well, if you turned on the TV around 3 o'clock today, I mean, it wasn't much to smile about. Man.
No.
Gosh, opening day, what a disaster. Hey, Michaelis, man, you made us look proud. God, we're terrible. Game one.
As
100 wins my rear.
Listen, it's too bad they still have 161 more of those things to go.
Oh my gosh. And guess what? I will not be at that stadium unless it's free. For free, like this show and Off the Rails Media, free.
Maybe we can find a way to get into the Cardinals game as a media group.
Ooh,
dude, that would be cool. Go live from Busch Stadium. Yeah.
Hey, I would imagine after watching today, it'd be a little bit more entertaining.
Mo or Gersh, if you're listening, we want in.
Oh yeah, because Gersh means nothing. He isn't doing anything.
He's just AI. He's the Cardinals version of AI.
I'll tell you what, man, it's been some.
Actually, it's not even artificial intelligence; it's just artificial.
I could say intelligence, not so much.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't look at the agenda very much today, but
since when? Why start?
It's a good thing because I'm not sure we had one. But.
I know. I think we had 3 subject lines there, but man, I mean, there's quad things being invented and all kinds of different things going on in local sports, and then the Cardinals suck, the Blues suck. I mean, I'm going to have to start rooting for the St. Louis City. I'm going to have to go to a soccer game. That's the only way I'm going to enjoy anything because all of our sports suck.
And all they're doing is tying right now.
And guess who's getting ready to start, though? You have the Battle Hawks. Caw!
Caw is the law.
So I think I have yet to be at a Caw game yet. I also, I'm wearing this shirt on purpose here.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is Kate's love for Jax, and we're still waiting on MoDOT to make a decision on what they're going to do with the lawsuit that they have with my family. My nephew Austin, his fiance, was the one that was hit and killed a couple years ago, and it was horrible for us because we were having we had Weston a few days later. It also happened on Dylan's birthday. So for my family and Austin, I mean, she was pregnant with Jax, and MoDOT doesn't want to take responsibility for screwing up. And I sure hope the Supreme Court of Missouri makes the right decision and awards, goes in our favor. And, the biggest thing is people don't want other MoDOT workers to get hurt and killed. You expect your family members to come home after work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very sad situation. And my brother's whole family was up there the other day and I still haven't heard if they've even had a ruling yet. But so I wanted to wear that shirt today, and it is what it is. It's a sad story, but want to get it out there as much as I can.
Well, around the area, just how much change is going on. Just, down 55 and all around our area, it's going to be that
lots
way
of construction. Yes.
Several years now. So
a lot of workers that are out there, risking their lives every day. And I don't want that to happen to any of them. And I know Austin and Dave and Tina and Caitlin's family do not want that to happen. And so that's why they're making all this noise. I'm sure people may think it's other reasons, but it's really about just protecting the workers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, prayers to them and prayers to the Supreme Court makes the right decision here.
Yeah, I sure hope they do. It's been a long fight, and you know how our court system works, mm-hmm. Zach. You teach history, so mm-hmm. It's been a long 2-year fight, and
yeah.
But brighter things are going on with sports, so I just wanted to talk about the organization there. It's really good. They do some cool stuff, and anytime I can throw out some free stuff, free, because that's what we are here at Off the Rails Media in the Coach's Box. We are free. There's no paywall. There's no app that's confusing and you can't even do anything with.
We're cheaper than free.
Well, there's some people that say we're pretty cheap, bud. Hey, we don't have the cheapest guy on here right now, Miller. His dad's probably got him working at the farm.
Spring break. Now, were you guys we started today? Were you all on spring break this whole week?
Ours started today, baby.
Okay.
Yes.
So to all the teachers, hopefully all have a good spring break and ready for that final push there, that fourth quarter.
Dude, everybody skated out of the parking lot. I stayed till 5 today because I was working on my career ladder, getting a little extra ding, and man, people were flying out of the parking lot.
Just spinning, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Week off.
Teachers that didn't have last hour classes on Wednesday were like 2:00. I'm out. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I didn't have a last hour class today, but I stayed. We're contracted till 3:00, baby. So,
virtual stay. Yes.
Oh, I was there. I was there till 5, man.
Did both of you guys watch the Cardinals game today?
Yeah.
I did not. I was doing my career ladder. I checked it once in a while.
Let's just get right.
I'll say
get right into it. Go ahead, Kevin.
I did not watch a Cardinals game. I went out and watched some softball today and got to see
way more
offense. Yes, I watched a doubleheader. It was about a total of I saw 8 innings, and I think there were 15 home runs in those 8 innings. The ball was just flying out of the park. It was nice to see. Well, I was listening to the Cardinals game, yelling expletives with my daughter next to me.
Well, the two first basemen of the two teams that played today, the Cardinals and the Dodgers, 2 first basemen had games.
Yeah.
Our first baseman had the only 3 hits we had. Yeah. And then Freeman kind of went off today with, Freeman. We like to give up home runs.
Freeman for the
Yeah.
Dude, their lineup is, Zach, is their lineup not just.
They brought people off the bench late in the game to just get their bench players in, and they were still really good.
Did you hear the announcers talking about it? They were talking about it. They're like, look at the guys they're bringing off the bench, and look at these are still quality.
They're better starters. Defensively. They're better defensively when they bring the bench in because of that. He goes, but they're still really good offensively.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. I read article. This is one time I'm like, Marmol finally sounds like someone I can relate to. He said, no, Matt Carpenter is not getting everyday at bats. He was not brought here to be in the everyday lineup. That was basically said in the thing I saw today. And that he's a mentor, spot starter type of guy. That's all he's here for. Yeah, Blues are tied. Yeah, they're done.
I will bet Carpenter gets the DH start at the home opener.
Yes, sir. I believe that.
But that might be like the only start he would get in the first 10 days or so.
Well, however many ball games they have between now and then, there might be a lot of L's next to their name, so you might try and switch it up and be like, "Go ahead, Carpenter. Maybe you can get on base."
They did.
I guess finally depends on who the Dodgers are pitching.
Yeah, and they did finally do something that we have all agreed with. They started the right center fielder.
Oh.
Yeah,
they may not have done much else right, but they did start the right center fielder.
Had to. Everybody else is hurt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you bring that up. The stat of the day is they had 4, and there's multiple stats, but they had 4 guys 24 or younger in the starting lineup, and they said that hasn't happened for decades. And then they said Victor Scott starting in center field, first time that you had a rookie starting in center field, I think, since the 50s, and then Mason Wynn coming in starting at shortstop. I think that was again maybe 70s or something like that.
Willie McGee not start as a
I
rookie?
Guess not.
No, he did not.
Not at first. But
not in center. He's apparently played left field his first year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talk about one of the greatest Cardinals ever, man. That dude.
But in many instances, I thought he played the absolute right lineup for what he had. Burleson was the DH, Gorman at second. But there's probably four every three, at least 3 everyday starters on the DL right now in Nootbaar. And I guess you could say Carlson would be in that, and Edmund.
Edmund, yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, and when you don't spend any money.
Yeah.
That's the again, and we said it in the group chat. It's like, look, DeWallet, if you want to know how you get good players, you gotta spend the money. I mean, when you're talking about guys that come off the bench for the Dodgers, could be starters elsewhere. But you know what? If you're going to pay him money just to be in that role, then do it. You've got. I like the young core. I think you're going to have Mason Wynn and Victor Scott, if they don't find their footing soon. It could be like basically having a pitcher and Yachty at the plate. But I mean, you've got two young superstars that are going to be great defensively at their position. And again, Jordan Walker, hopefully he can get.
I think he'll be better. He'll be better in right field.
I think with this team that you just let Victor Scott and Mason Wynn go through these growing pains.
Yeah.
And just let them manage through it with the help of some of the older veterans like Arenado and Goldschmidt. But I think you have to deal Goldschmidt, I think, at some point.
It'll be interesting. Year. It'll be interesting to see what happens when all those guys get healthy.
What moves are going to be made? Like,
are you going to deal? Are they going to deal Goldie, or are they going to sign Goldie?
I think they're going to deal Goldie late in the year, like that All-Star break to trade deadline type of area.
I mean, do you not think that?
I don't think he fits the profile of being old for a Cardinals extension.
Well, and I
think they're willing to move Walker to first base.
Oh, I was going to say either Walker or Gorman.
I don't think they're sold on Tommy Edman. I think Tommy Edman's probably one that's going to end up being dealt at some point too. Having both Donovan and Edman, I don't know that plays out long term.
No, and I think Donovan's the one they're going to end up keeping.
Yes. So I would venture to say by the end of the year that if Edman is healthy and and Goldschmidt is playing well, Goldschmidt gets dealt at the deadline, and Edman probably goes as well somewhere to as a piece for a team that needs it.
So are you going to let Gorman go in a trade piece? Because all I keep hearing is that, hey, early prognosticators talk about these trades, and well, Gorman's going to have to be a part of that package. Do you let him go? I mean, a power lefty?
I don't think that we're trading any of our assets away to get better. I think we're trading our assets away to get more assets. So I don't think Gorman goes in a deal to just get assets back, because I think he's your second baseman for the next 5 to 10 years.
At first, I thought you said ass hats because that's
some
what
of them are. Those are the front office,
because that's what our front office is wearing on top of their head. If a bunch of ass hats.
If we could trade our ass hats for assets, we should.
I just we're gonna screw it up. We're not gonna. We're gonna screw it up. We're gonna.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it. I mean, we probably should have traded Goldie last year.
Okay, so what about Arenado? Do you trade him?
Well, his contract is, you're going to eat a bunch of that contract, and they're not going to trade him to eat some of that contract unless we get nothing back for him. He's going to play. He's going to opt out. He's going to opt out at some point, and he's going to finish his career as a Dodger. The Dodgers started Max Muncy today at third. Don't you think they'd much prefer to have someone like Arenado at third base?
I like Max Muncy.
I like him too, but not
almost 40 home runs, over 100 RBIs.
I don't like him at third base.
No, I like him at first base. That'd be a nice trade. Well, we'll just trade. I mean, I'm not saying we need to get rid of Arenado. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But, Goldie, he'd look good in a Dodger uniform.
Yeah, with him and Freeman platooning.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
I would bet anything that Goldie, he will go somewhere to finish out the year. I bet you he ends up back in Arizona
if they're a contender again.
If they're going to be a contender again, because right now I don't think they really have a first baseman unless I'm mistaken.
Christian Walker.
Yeah,
I mean, he hit quite a few dongs last year. He was pretty solid.
But is he the guy that is going to ask for a ton of money?
Probably not.
He's probably coming up on the end of his rookie deals here in the next year or two, right? So
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up.
Or does Goldie move to a DH spot and then
I think he's getting to the point where he's a DH at some point. So,
well, whatever it is, all we heard was, man, our pitching. They're going to be able to eat innings. Pitching's going to eat innings. And game one, what does our number one starter do? He goes a whopping 4 innings. 4 innings.
That's like, we talked all this stuff about what we're going to do with all these position players when our real issue is our pitching.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Oh, he can watch the show. Chris chiming in here.
He's going to be doing he's going to be doing our fact checking during the show.
Walker. Actually, I just looked it up. Walker is 33.
No,
so there's 2 old dudes. Walker and our first baseman.
Yeah.
Walker's still too young to be a Cardinal.
Well, that this year indicates yes.
Glass. So, I mean, you guys didn't watch the game, but watching it, Glass now looked good. Yeah. I mean, he's
tough.
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing 98. Then he goes in and makes several guys just look stupid with that slider.
Miller's angry.
So there were bright spots for the Cardinals. I thought Liberatore looked good today.
Liberatore's 3 batters he faced, and they were talking about it. I don't know if you heard. I did watch the end of the game. After I got home from doing my career ladder, but they had Liberatore in, and they were saying how he just has more bite in his pitches, only having to go an inning or 2 versus having, and he never hits the speeds he does in relief when he's a starter.
Yeah, because he can go max effort, go for that 1 inning. I mean, if they stretch him out, go 2, then that's fine. But here's the thing.
He could be a very good high leverage guy in the bullpen.
Maybe. Oh, Pavel Bucevich scores. We're up 3-2.
I don't know. I mean, you almost have to make him a starter for the trade for getting rid of Andy Rosarina. But if he can't do that role, if he can't function in that role,
I think
maybe he's
on him being a reliever.
I hope, because I mean he's got to do something positive.
He looked good today.
They mentioned today that he is sold on being in one of those relief roles.
Really?
and being a high leverage guy and getting a chance to throw more often.
If you're a high leverage guy and left-handed like him, right?
Yeah.
And can hit upper 90 and can touch 97, 98.
You can still make some money.
With he's
and
97,
let's be real.
98.
That's what this is all about.
Well,
97,
and that's
98 with a big hook. He is
Right.
Andrew Miller.
right.
Dude, his
After
hook,
Andrew Miller.
But he
his
could be
hook-
he
Go
could
ahead.
be a 5. He could be a 5, and you talk about money, and why would he want to be a reliever? He's like, I'll go be some crappy number 5 and make $30 million a year. Like, why would you, if you're him, why would you not want to do that?
I don't know that he ain't gonna get 30 mil.
I'm throwing numbers out. Like, rather than 10,
That's a big number.
He's a left-handed Michael Wacha, so and he's done pretty well with the last couple of years, finding niche roles at the back end of rotations.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he's a starter. I just don't.
So we always said that about Jordan Hicks too, and apparently
Well,
Jordan Hicks
and
is
I
doing
tell
good
you what,
things
I
in
was
San Francisco.
You brought it up before I could. I'm interested to see. He might be the guy that the Cardinals go, whoops, we let him get away. Dude, he's looked dynamite in spring. I'm interested to see how he does this year. I've always been a Jordan.
Still a
Hicks
reliever,
fan.
or
No, he's a starter.
No,
in
he's
San
a starter,
Francisco.
and he's been
not
really
lights
good.
out, but he's been really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a change in pitching philosophies from an organization to an organization.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, look, okay, if these guys are all commenting, just
right,
get on the show.
just get on the show.
Just
Just
get
get
on
on
the
the show.
I don't want.
Come in a
excuses,
break. Get on the
excuses.
show.
Yes, we know, Jim. You've been dude, who peed in his Cheerios? Jim Powers has been so negative lately, and this is coming from me.
Man, I wonder how Ohio State's pitching staff looks right now. So,
well, I don't wonder how they're doing in the NIT. I don't know if Cincinnati knocked them off or not, but you know.
But
well, I mean, I'll tell you what. Are they going to rebuild that football program over there after losing to Mizzou? I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. All right.
MIZ.
ZOU, baby.
All right. Back to the Cardinals.
Oh,
all right.
I'm going to ask this question to you guys.
Okay.
And because we just talked about him a little bit and brought it up. Outside of Hicks, what's the one Cardinal from last year that you wish they still had?
My goodness. Probably Montgomery, just because you give some stability. I mean, it just something. Again, I know Michaelis has been a 2-time All-Star, and I think he's been a 3-time opening day starting pitcher, but you go back to who was on the roster for him to do that. I don't think that's his role as a number 1.
I think he's a 2 or a 3.
Right. And so, and I don't know. He seemed to have struggled the last couple of years, and he's not getting any younger. I mean, heck, he's been back in the league since 2018. I mean, heck, it's 10 years plus that he's been playing pro ball. So he's getting a little longer as well.
I'll have to agree with Jim. I think it's Montgomery. I think if Sonny Gray's healthy right now, maybe we're not saying it, but gosh, I mean, it's not like Lynn and Gibson have been freaking looking great. I know you can't look at spring training. Okay, we'll see.
Why can't you? Like, why can't you? That's what I mean.
Because guys getting ready. It's those types of things.
Yeah, because Goldsmith was.
I will reserve my judgment on those two, especially until about 2 or 3 starts in.
Yeah, look at Paul. Paul Goldsmith was terrible.
He had 6 hits all of spring training. He had 3 today,
and then he had 3 today. So
he turned the switch on. Lynn will turn the switch on.
Thing about Lynn, I just love his demeanor. I love it. He's a bulldog. He don't take no crap, and I like that.
So all right, Jason. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. If he's brought in to be this leader, and like you said, he's not gonna put up with any crap. If they're going to, and again, we can say the Dodgers, they're predicted to win over 100 ball games this year and all of that. If it goes in the first 2 weeks because they have such a horrible stretch in terms of who they're playing, how does his attitude in the clubhouse translate if they're losing? And how do they not get this beat dog mentality of like, well, we got all these young dudes, they already lost last year. If they start out slow, how do you as a leader, if you are Lance Lynn, who is this competitor, this bulldog who's fiery, how is he going to handle that? And whether it's the rest of the pitching staff or all the young guys? I mean, how do you think that plays out?
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know what we're going to look like here in a week or two. But I mean, Lynn's a professional. I don't think he's going to do that. But, whatever. Yeah, Ron Rhodes said Carpenter should have been the DH.
Oh, gosh.
I think the Lynn thing is kind of playing the long game in the locker room. I don't think he changes that locker room in spring training in a week in. I think it's you ask that question in June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see where it's at that point.
Yeah. I think Lynn's a professional. I don't think he's going to get down like that. And I mean, he's lost games. He's been on losing teams. I mean,
he was the pitcher that gave the most hits in the major league last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's had years
home runs,
something
that
like
guy,
most home runs or something. So he's been an all-star and he's been that pitcher. So I think he's been on all levels of that spectrum. And I think he'll be. I think he'll still be good in his consistent demeanor. I think will be the thing that plays.
I think they have good players in place to be leaders. I don't know that they have the coach to be a leader. That's my. I'm not sold on the dude, and I'm not a fan.
Miller's comment: you wait to evaluate these pitchers in a couple of weeks, they might be dead.
Dude, just get on your phone, go live, dude. You're being ridiculous. Well, okay, it might be.
We're gonna get ready to take.
I'm older than all of them, so that makes me really.
Okay, real quick, Kevin. So if you're Ollie, and are you going to? I don't want to say sacrifice wins and losses because you're trying to win every game. But if you're going to say we've got this core of 4 or 5 young guys, are you going to say we're going to ride with these guys over playing all of the dudes that you brought in, bringing in a Carpenter, bringing in the shortstop, Crawford. Are you going to say, hey, they've got to play? I mean, if they give us the best chance to win, then they've got to start. I mean, how do you?
No,
what's your
they
balance
cannot
in
do
that?
that. Crawford and Carpenter are bench players at best. Sorry, Ron Rhodes. His salsa might taste okay, but his bat is not. And
I'm not even sure he makes
old,
the salsa
dude.
anymore.
Crawford's old. No, you can't roll. If they roll him out there, they're doing a disservice. They're doing a disservice to the Cardinals. They're doing a disservice to Mason Wynn. They're doing a disservice to all of them. Nope, screw that. No, cannot do that.
In order to do that, I think you have to come right out. And I talk by you. I mean, front office and team management has to come out and say, what is the goal for this year? If you're trying to win, I don't care who it is, put the ones out there that are going to win. Mm-hmm. If it happens to be the Matt Carpenter, Brandon Crawford types,
but no, they're not going to win you games. That's so garbage.
I'm not saying them, but if it's that
I know you're
type,
not.
then they're the ones that have to play to win. But if we are just trying to prepare the next core for the next few years, then yes, you play the Mason Wins, you play the Victor Scott the seconds, you play those guys, and you just try to keep Arenado and Goldschmidt happy moving forward.
I mean, Goldschmidt will be happy when he's freaking getting shipped to a contender.
Well, so will Arenado, apparently.
Well, I mean, if I'm those two guys, I am ticked off at management right now.
Listen, let's say this, if we're not paying Arenado's salary, do we spend that money on something else, another pitcher perhaps, and then find somebody else to fill third base? Does it make us a better team not having those large salaries tied up to one player?
I think if they get rid of an Arenado, they're not going to buy a big name. I think they're just going to, you said it earlier, they're just going to trade for assets and then be young. And they'll just be like, hey, again, like I've said so many times on the show, we're going to go through that period of the 90s
No, we're
outside
not,
of 96.
Zach. Shut up.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Do it. I've already went through it once.
But it's trending that way again. And then, like you said, if you get rid of Goldie and Arenado, and you say, "Look, we're sorry, we messed up. We're gonna send you someplace else." Hey, their farm system, the Cardinals' farm system, is pretty depleted as well. So it would make perfect sense for them to be like, "Hey, we'll trade Goldie and Arenado for a bunch of prospects."
What are you talking about? We got Randy Flores running that farm system down there. It is top notch. One of the best in the league, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey,
look at all the players we got elsewhere that are just living it up and playing.
Well, that's not Randy Flores. That's management trading for it.
Yes,
Trading away.
The minor league system is just fine. Randy Flores and the scouting department do just fine. It's the asshats that make decisions on the assets that really mess this up for all of us.
I mean, Sandy's pitching okay.
Right?
Gallon.
Yeah.
Dolis Garcia hitting in the middle of the lineup for the World Series champions. So. But
now I went from a little bit of a high to an absolute
Jim Powers.
I have to talk about the Lakers. I mean, seriously.
Hey, so we're going to go to break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Montgomery deal and what that means for some of these pitchers who did not get what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means for baseball, what that could mean moving forward. And if you were a player and all the ramifications that come from that.
All right. Well, we got to talk about the tournament too at some point.
Oh yeah. And we got new NFL rules. We got to talk about those.
Oh my God, that tackle rule. Give me a break.
I got the kickoff rule too. We got to talk about that. So
just call it flag football and be done.
All right.
I'm out.
Well, we will be right back from this break. Oh,
warning.
I played the intro. Whoops. Here we go.
I'm a parking gate and I'm all out of whack.
Please insert your parking ticket.
It's going to take a lot more than a little ticket to get out of here. And if you have cut rate car insurance, this could leave you all bent out of shape. No! So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Someone!
That's broken too, pal.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Imagine an HVAC as unnoticeable as the air itself. Sounds pretty good, huh? The new Daikin Fit. Air intelligence.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
Hey guys, if you've been in to check out the changes at Case and Buck's Grub and Pub, stop by, check us out. We've got awesome wings, we got great pizza, we got a steak sandwich, a steak salad. Holy cow, we got games, we've got lotto, we've got cold beer, we've got a little bit of everything. Stop by, check us out, check out the weekly specials, barbecue, pork steaks, yum. Harold's Market, thank you, my friends. Check us out. We are waiting for you.
Welcome back, everybody. We are in segment number 2 on episode 183 of the Coach's Box. So,
woo, 183.
Hey, 183. So, Kevin, let's just kind of get right into it. You said you wanted to talk about, I'm assuming that, you didn't say his name, but we're going to talk about the infamous Scott Boras.
And his list of clients that held out for more, but didn't get anything or didn't get anywhere near what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, because somebody could have signed Jordan Montgomery for 1 year and $24 million 4 months ago. Right. I don't know why it took until now to do it. So
it wasn't going to be the Cardinals.
Wasn't going to be I'm still certain to think he didn't want to come back here.
No, he didn't.
And is it becoming an issue where maybe free agents don't want to be here for various reasons, like management and dugout management?
Yeah.
Well, not only dugout management, DeWallet, ownership.
Well, that's management.
And everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I should have referred to them as asshats. Sorry. Management.
Yeah. See, then I would have been more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been way more clear. Yeah. Yes. I agree with Ron Rhodes. Bro Neal's going to have a monster year. It's his contract year, monster year. You watch.
That
30 to 40 dingers, and he's going to steal 30 bases.
Okay. Well, that's because he'll be hurt.
He doesn't have to do a whole lot of work, so he won't get hurt playing left field in Fenway because it's only like 40 feet to the fence in Fenway.
He'll still pull a hammy. He'll be out by the end of May. You watch.
He's going to play through. It's contract year. He's going to get that money, baby. He's all about it, Bro Neal.
He'll blow out a bicep doing curls or something like that.
Hey, my bicep tendon is completely torn. So yeah, fun times. I'm getting surgery in July, baby.
Oh my goodness.
So
no.
Well, okay. So let's say you are one of Scott Boras's clients, high profile clients. Mm-hmm. You held out because I'm assuming Scott Boras told you, hey, we're going to get this money. You just got to be patient with it. Mm-hmm. All right. You go all the way through spring training without really getting a spring training, only to get a 1 year deal for $24 million. How upset are you as a player?
Well, if you're
still getting $24 million. I don't know what the big deal here is.
I'm going to say $24 million is not too upsetting, but
I go back to
when Boras looks at you and says, hey, you're going to get 5 years for, $160 million.
Right.
Boras just doesn't have the connections he used to have. He used to go straight to the owner, skip all them guys, and tell the owner, hey, you need my guy at this much. And he doesn't have George Steinbrenner and all these other owners.
Well, I just go back to it, and again, not bringing politics in any of this, but you look at the economy and you look at things and prices and all of that, and he's done this for so long, maybe it's finally worn on
they're done
the owners and the GMs is saying, look, dude, listen, we get it, but we're not willing to pay that premium for that guy at that length of a contract.
Well, there are far few baseball fans as owners now than there used to be.
Yeah.
All right. They're now business people. They're not as much as baseball fans.
Yeah.
So you used to be able to kind of get the nostalgia of being, hey, you could get this guy, this big name for this amount of money, and you'd want him on because you're a base. Now it's like, well, what kind of value does that bring my business?
Mm-hmm. Well, and analytics again.
And analytics.
Why do I can go get if he's 1A, I can go get 1E at a fraction of the cost and buy somebody else that's going to make up the whatever numbers crunch. And
UConn's going to repeat, dude. They just whacked San Diego.
We'll get there.
They just whacked San Diego State by 30.
We'll get there.
I mean, just waxed them.
Okay.
I'm sick of talking about the gosh damn Cardinals. So can we talk about something else?
Well, we're not talking about Cardinals. We're talking about other stuff.
Oh.
Okay. we're not. We're talking baseball.
We can talk baseball too.
All right. So here, let me ask you this. Do you think going forward, if anything happens with Ohtani, do you think now, because at some point you can't keep paying athletes, you can't keep paying baseball players the money that Ohtani got. Like, I just don't see it. And I know we can go back to Babe Ruth and his contract and, hey, can the president hit a curveball, all that stuff, right? I don't see it in terms of all that dollars and cents. So if something does happen with Ohtani, does that like all of the owners say, you know what, we're not signing guys for that much.
Oh, you mean like his interpreter putting money on games, and you're telling me he didn't know? BS. And so Ohtani's getting nothing right now on this whole deal. So his interpreter's betting all this money. You're telling he didn't know? If I'm Pete Rose, and Pete Rose has, if you haven't seen it, a couple videos, I mean, you can't tell me he didn't know.
Pete Rose
that was millions of dollars.
I sent the meme to you earlier. Pete Rose is one interpreter away from being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's
if Pete Rose has an interpreter, he's in the Hall of Fame right now.
Right.
But aside from all that, but Zach's right. It is not sustainable business model to be paying players as much as what they're paying them, because at some point, it's not just the top players getting that money. You're going to get into the middle tier players are going to be getting what top players used to be paid.
You can blame that crap on the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox.
That's why they need. Real. I really think that and the players will never go for it. But the only way to fix that is you need a cap and a floor.
They need a cap. It's ridiculous.
And a floor.
Yes, right. I agree.
So that you can't do what Oakland did, and they're now have actually, I think it's $10 million less.
Where's Oakland even going to play at?
What, Vegas?
I think they finally got that. I thought the stadium finally got approved. Maybe I was wrong, but I thought I read somewhere that the plan finally got approved. It got backing from the mayor.
In Vegas?
Yes, the one right there near the Strip.
Yeah, but going back to the Boris stuff, you said it, Kevin. I mean, everything just goes back to money, and they're probably tired of, hey, we're just not paying you. We can go get somebody just a little bit cheaper. Yeah, Bobby Bonilla, best contract.
Ron Rhodes is not showing his age at all right now, but he's the biggest Matt Carpenter fan. And then Bobby Bonilla, what a smart businessman.
Hey, Griffey too. Griffey, I think, still on the books for Cincinnati.
I think Griffey's still like the 17th highest paid player on the Cincinnati Reds right now.
Did he even win a championship there?
No. I'm not even sure if he made the playoffs.
Man,
but
all the money they're paying.
It was just the whole. But there's going to be a fundamental shift at some point in how these pairs are played. Or how these players are played.
Pairs? You talking about me? Pairs?
Yeah. Pairs are played. But because the owners are starting to get some of that control back on these. At one point, they lost control of what these salaries were, and now they're finally saying,
"Not our owner. Well, he ain't lost control of crap."
Well, but they're starting as a whole. They're starting to pull back and just
we're gonna build this new stadium. We're gonna blow up our salary. We're gonna spend more. Your rear end.
You're the one talking about the Cardinals. We
right?
Are not.
Yeah,
because we're talking about baseball, and I don't care about anything else but the Cardinals and baseball.
All right. Well, then let's switch gears. Then for Jarvis' sake, we'll switch gears and
we'll let you pick. You want NCAA tournament or you want NFL rules?
Let's go NFL rules first.
All right.
Two big rules going on. We can
two big rule changes we're going to kind of talk about and debate here. One being the elimination of the hip drop tackle, and then also the changing of the kickoff rules to the XFL style. We're going to defer to our in-house football expert, Zach McVey,
Jarvis is a football coach.
Junior high defensive coordinator of the year.
No, that was Miller.
Oh, okay.
No, that was Miller.
Jason,
jailbreak blitz.
Jason, what are your thoughts on these rule changes?
Is the whole hip drop, I want to make sure I'm right on. So we're talking we can't tackle below the hips?
No. You cannot wrap up around the hips and twist down.
Yeah.
Injuries, the stats show that injuries due to that tackle have gone up.
So I can't go here at the hips and
yes, correct. You can't roll them down, not
because
from the hips.
That's what the Seahawks taught. I mean, that's
the alligator roll, right?
The alligator, but like Mike Jones, the tackle was a hip drop, and it would be illegal.
Right. So the whole point is that you are getting both at the college level and the professional level, you are getting a lot of, whether it's broken bones, whether it's ankles and or lower leg.
I don't think it has any. It's not the tackling. It's the surface.
You think?
And I was about to. I think because a lot of those times,
if this is all on grass, it wouldn't have as many.
Because cleats hang up in turf a lot more than they do in grass.
Okay, hold on.
And I think a lot of those hip things happen is because they twist because they're planted in the turf and their cleats don't kind of give a little bit and come out of the grass.
Okay, hold on.
I played on both. I'm telling you.
Okay,
I
I'm
played soccer on both. I can tell you.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about this. So you mean to tell me it's not the fact that there are grown men that are 6'5", 250, running a 4.40 that are making these tackles at the acceleration and the mass and all of that scientific stuff, that's not what's causing the injuries? It's the grass or the artificial turf?
It's a combination of the two.
I think it's a combination of it all. And here's the thing, too. And this is gonna sound terrible, but you're getting paid millions of dollars. We can't have a hip tackle? Come on. We are making football so sissified. I mean,
well,
dude,
it comes
back in the day, clotheslining was okay. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
But it goes back to money because, again, if you don't have wide receiver number one because he got rolled up, and so now he can't perform, and then they can't score lots of points, then you don't get rear ends in the seats, and then you don't make money. Because guess what? Are they making any changes to the O-line and D-line when the O-linemen get wrapped up from behind? Nope. I haven't heard any of that.
Well, I mean, they've gotten rid of some of the blocking techniques that led to a lot of knee injuries.
You can still cut block.
But like there used to be the chop blocks, the blindside stuffs, the doubles, those types of things. But so they're doing some of those things. It's going to make it very difficult to play defense because the target zone is much smaller now.
And that's what I'm saying as a D guy, my whole career as a coach.
How do you coach it?
Yeah,
I don't understand. You can't target. So this is now
you cannot teach the so we used to teach helmet to the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you tackled. Mm-hmm. And then they're like less injuries on tackles if you opposite of the ball and you roll.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're saying we can't roll. Evidently,
you can roll. You just can't have hands around. If you can still wrap up around the waist and take them down, you just can't twist and roll them down. If I read that correctly.
So now you're going to take it.
What's going to wind up happening is you're going to get defensive players hurt because they're not going to know what to do. They're going to.
It tentatively the whole thing. It's always confused me a little bit because defensive players can't lower their head and go in, but yet an offensive running back can get into lower their head and run through a player, and it's not anything close to that. It's apparently part of the rule, but they never call that part of the rule. So the enforcement of this, and the NFL Players Association was against this because of the enforcement of it. It's going to be impossible to do because sometimes you're going to wrap a guy up and he's going to wiggle free a little bit, and you're just going to have you just got to let him go.
What? See, that's the other thing.
I'm a defender. I'm taking that guy down no matter how I can.
He's not just going to fall forward.
Right. Right. So here's the other thing. Now, does this change again? Yes, in terms of the refs having to throw flags, but go watch an NFL game. They rarely blow the whistle, and it is super, super late. I mean, the guys are getting up after the tackle and they're blowing the whistle. So is that something that has to change where they're like, play's dead?
I thought the same thing. I think they're probably going to end up having to start blowing the whistle a lot faster, which means you're going to have a lot less broken tackles because I think you get it half wrapped up. They're going to blow forward progress. You're going to do all that. And it stinks for the game of football because it won't be.
I'm already done talking about football too.
Everything we're talking about the other one.
Everything we're talking about is depressing me.
This is my entire plan is we're going to talk about all the things that make Jason mad. And then the third segment is soccer and all soccer.
And then Jarvis will be gone and I'll be gone. It's just going to be Kevin.
It's going to be monologue. My monologue. Miller will finally come on at that point and so will Jim. Just to get me off the air.
Press the button.
It makes me wonder now, what will football look like?
Okay.
in 10 years.
So, okay, go to rugby. What are they doing in rugby to where they can sit here and they can tackle the way they tackle? And I'm assuming they don't have as many injuries. Now, is it again, is it the technology? We've advanced so far in the technology of the helmets and pads that this is part of the problem. Again, is the fact that we have finally tuned our athletes to where they're basically missiles coming at each other, and it's just like, I don't know.
There was a saying a few years ago, and I'm not sure if you guys heard it or not, that if you really wanted to take the injuries out of tackling, you'd remove the helmets. Mm-hmm. If you get rid of the players, if you get rid of helmets, they'll stop using the helmet as a weapon and as a target. Mm-hmm. Is there some truth to that?
I say if you watch rugby, there's got to be some truth to it.
I mean, Jason, when I say that, what you have this look on your, what thought comes to mind?
All right, it takes a little bit of you have to have a little bit of an edge in your own mentality to play football first. Mm-hmm. And like I was telling you guys, I was kidding about it earlier, but I have to get shoulder surgery. I've already had my left one done. Now I'm gonna get my right one done this summer, and I wouldn't have cared. I'd stick my head in there. Mm-hmm. So you take the helmet out, I'm still gonna stick my. You don't think I played smear the guy with the ball, which that ain't what it was called. So, smear the guy with the ball
in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah. Like
I played it in the 90s, but
if you've ever been to, Festus is now it's changed a lot, but you know where the shot put area and all that is. That was where. In the 80s, my brother was an 86 grad. We were over in that field, and we were smearing the guy with the ball, which you know what?
Yes, we know the game.
We know the game. We got it.
And we had no helmets on. We had nothing on. We were down there in our shorts and our T-shirt just
But did any of you come out with significant injuries
people got hurt?
But here's the other thing. Were any of you 6'5", 250 running a 4.440? I mean, that's
look at
right. I mean,
does Jason even drive a 4.440?
My best 40 time was 4.98.
Hey,
that's still not bad. Sub 5.
Yeah, but I was only about 205 pounds at the time.
Yeah,
and my center from Florida, who was. He's like 6'4", almost 300 pounds. That's who I was running it against, and he ran a 5 flat even. Right, that's how neck and neck we were going down.
So
a center weighing 300 some pounds.
Okay,
and ran a 5 flat 40. So them guys that are 280 running a 4.8, and you take all that force, helmet. Shoulder pads, and I'm putting it in that ball carrier. Oh,
they've already eliminated some of those. But you've seen over the years, like those hip pads and thigh pads and knee pads go away, and they're just wearing like capris.
Well, they don't wear. I mean, the pros they don't wear crap.
No, and I don't know if that's to make them faster. I think I want to protect my body, and I'm going to wear pads, but they do have to be faster. Okay, you're talking about that. So again, this is a quick pivot. So this came out, I guess, this week down in Texas. You had two different high school teams beat the national 4x100 record. Okay, 2 teams did it in the same heat, and they ran, and I can't remember. It was less than a minute, and I'd have to look it up. But they were only 0.8 off of the world record 4x1
in high school.
In high school, so you break the record. You break the old record that was like 20, 30 years old, and you still lose because another school's 4x1 record set it. Broke it even better than you did. Like in the same heat. You watched the video, and it was like, wow, those guys were absolutely flying.
Man, they're rolling.
Yeah,
I mean that is
Duncan. It was Duncanville, which is the big stud.
It's the biggest school in Texas.
Yeah, the big stud football program down in Texas. That same high school.
Oh, and I bet they're football players.
Oh man, yeah, But anyway, so
well, it's amazing if you just look, not all, and not Jefferson County athletes per se, but you look if you watch big time, like I'm pointing at the TV like I'm watching right now, but I'm watching the North Carolina Alabama. But you watch big time college or high school sports, dude. Some of those dudes are just outrageous. Like, dude, I was 190 pounds starting right tackle, man. Come on. We're talking there's right tackles 315 pounds in high school running 5 flat 40s and just
eighth graders.
6'8", 6'9", eighth graders weighing 320.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I not to go back to what you were saying, but yeah, some of the injuries are because of the speed, strength of the players too. I mean, yeah,
yeah. So
football's a hard sport that it's never going to be safe enough. You're not. I mean, if
it's
you're
a violent
playing,
sport,
it's a violent sport. It's a sport.
It's a collision sport.
If I wouldn't have played football, I probably would have gotten a lot of trouble because football was where I got to let all my. I'm sure I was ADD and ADHD, blah blah blah, whatever. But I went and played football, and I lifted weights, and I did all that stuff, and got that out of me. Whereas, now it's. I mean, we're what? We're probably not even 500 kids, and it's the same 200 or less that are doing everything in our school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah, I don't know. Man, it's just crazy the size of these athletes now.
So let's pivot a little bit to the other rule change, the massive one, the kickoff rule.
I don't mind it.
Explain it.
So and I kind of looked up. All right, so the kickoff will take place from the 35-yard line like it does now. The other 10 players from the kicking team will line up on the opposing 40-yard line with the other team at the 35. So there's only a 5-yard distance between the kicking team and the receiving team with the receiver deep. The receiving team will have at least 9 players in the setup zone between that 35 and 30 facing off. 2 returners will be stationed in the landing zone from the 20-yard line to the goal line. So the returners have to be in that 20-yard area. No player except the kick, no player in that setup zone in the middle can move until the ball is received by the returner. So it is kicked and it travels. Returners can return the football wherever it lands. A touchback at the 20-yard line would occur if the ball touches the ground or any player in the landing zone and then rolls beyond the goal line and down in the end zone. So if they just, it's still a live ball like it normally is on a kickoff. But if it lands in the landing zone and the receivers don't receive it and it goes into the end zone, it would go to the 20-yard line. The touchback the ball would move out to the 30-yard line if the ball goes out of bounds behind the receiving team's goal line, strikes a goalpost, or lands at or beyond the goal line. So if the kicker kicks it into the end zone, yes. Well, if the kicker kicks it into the end zone for a touchback, it goes out to the 30. So the kickers, now the big-legged kickers for kickoffs, it's not as big a deal anymore because you have to put the ball between. They're actually bringing the return back, but eliminating that collision that would always happen with the gunners running down because those were some nasty collisions.
One of my
the wedge, get rid of the wedge.
One of my first ever college practices, like. And I got redshirted my first year. They wouldn't pass my physical, so I got both my knees operated on. That's how I spent Christmas break and spring break. I did one knee on Christmas break, the other knee on spring break. So anyway, by next year, I'm on the scout kickoff return against the varsity's first team kickoff, right? And so I'm on the front line, and I'm having to peel back and then turn, get a wall, and go forward and block for these guys, right? So we're running it. It's kicked. I take off. I get down to my wall spot. I turn, and there's Sherrod Washington, about 6'3".
He just sounds huge.
He's 6'3". No, wasn't real big. He was 6'3", probably, I don't know, 185, 175. But he's running like, I mean, he's running. And I get to my spot, turn, take about 1 or 2 steps, poof.
Decleated, huh?
Yes.
Decleated. Welcome to NAIA football.
Yes.
Holy crap. I got
Wedge
up
busters.
I was like, dude, he was not a big dude. I'm like,
force, acceleration, all that.
But he also had a 40-yard head start.
Yes.
Mhm.
And holy crap.
So
it was still, I love kickoffs. I was on, that's how I got to play. Finally, I got to play because I was on all these special teams and I didn't care about my body. And I would run down the field and I would throw myself into the wedge or whatever I had to do. Yeah. Whatever I had to do to get on
He
the
did
field.
the Ultimate Warrior.
And now my old cripple ass is paying for it. But I understand why they're doing it, dude. It's violent. Kickoff and kickoff return is 2 of the most violent spots to be on.
But it's also one of the most exciting parts of the games. And I think it brings the return back into the game.
Well, that's cool. It brings someone like a Devin Hester or,
Joe Horn.
Was it Joe
Tony
Horn?
Horn.
Yeah.
Tony Horn.
Tony Horn, yes.
Yes.
Hasakim.
Visikahema.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah. So I'm showing my age. But
Brock Livio.
Yes. So it's bringing some of those that part of the game back in, and I think it's going to add some excitement to it as well, putting the ball in play more often.
I'm curious as what's going to be the rule for onside kicks then if they're only 5 yards apart.
I think you can declare. It doesn't have it in here, but I think you declare ahead of time that it's the onside kick. But I think they actually, I think they eliminate or they go to that. I wonder if they'd go to that 4th and 15 thing. Where you get a 4th and 15 play from the kickoff spot, and if you make it, you get to keep the ball. If you don't, the other team gets it at the 40. So it takes the onside kick out, and it just makes it a 4th and 15 play. So you have one play to get 15 yards.
Well, Detroit would do it.
Ball back. Yes, go for it.
Jeez.
They call it the Dan Campbell rule.
Dan Campbell rule. Yep.
So I think that's how it was handled in the XFL. I'm not 100% certain, but I don't think that's part of this rule. But I don't know how onside kicks would declare. I think it eliminates the surprise onside kick, but they would declare it ahead of time. Hey, we're onside kicking.
Fan of the show, Ron Rhodes had a lot of questions and comments tonight, so I just got to throw him out there when he puts it out there. He's up there. Did you see one of his comments? I know. What did it say? I know where Jarvis. I know where a boys basketball coach can get a good paying coaching position. Like, dude, I cannot move the Smith Cotton, buddy.
I learned how to do this. I can put them on the screen now.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
and believe me, I'm flattered. And if Jill was done with school and I was in a financial spot, then it may be a different story. But right now, no, can't do it.
So, well, let's take our last break, and we'll come back and talk a little NCAA tournament. All right.
Oh yeah, let's see. Carolina's up 19-14 over Alabama.
Let's see if I can play the right commercials this time.
You don't want to play the intro again?
Yeah, no, maybe I'll play the outro and just not come back. So, all right, we'll be right back.
Coach's Box, be right back.
I'm a parking gate and I'm all out of whack.
Please insert your parking ticket.
It's gonna take a lot more than a little ticket to get out of here. And if you have cut rate car insurance, this could leave you all bent out of shape. No! So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Someone!
That's broken too, pal.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Imagine an HVAC as unnoticeable as the air itself. Sounds pretty good, huh? The new Daikin Fit. Air intelligence.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
Hey guys, if you've been in to check out the changes at Case and Buck's Grub and Pub, stop by, check us out. We've got awesome wings. We got great pizza. We got a steak sandwich, a steak salad. Holy cow. We got games. We've got lotto. We've got cold beer. We've got a little bit of everything. Stop by, check us out. Check out the weekly specials. Barbecue, pork steaks, yum. Harold's Market, thank you, my friends. Check us out. We are waiting for you.
All right, well, we are back to our last segment of the evening.
Whoops, I missed the message.
That's okay. That's all right, Jarvis. You're busy. It's no problem.
I wasn't busy doing nothing but
watching TV.
I was checking my email.
So, last segment, I mean, March Madness is upon us. We are into the Sweet 16 round, and we've had a couple ball games. We've had I guess two finish here in the Sweet 16. But before we get to that, talk about last week, opening first round, second round. What were some of your thoughts and reactions to some of those ball games? I mean, obviously, Oakland upsetting Kentucky has to be the big time.
Yeah, I really thought Calipari was going to be on his way out. They said, nope, coming back.
Yep.
Kind of like Ron Rhodes. He's like, he's never going to quit.
I don't think we had the volume of upsets that we've had in the past. I think other than the Oakland, Grand Canyon, Yale, isn't that pretty much the three?
Big
NC
name.
State.
I mean, James Madison was the big one.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the numbers, the rankings. But a lot of people were high on them as well. I think they were a 5-12 matchup. But yeah, I mean, the Oakland game.
Yale was a 13-4.
Yale was the third. That one there. I'm surprised. Well, if anybody remembered, I know I said I was high on St. Mary's. I was wrong. Grand Canyon. I mean, Grand Canyon had the upset, but
I was high on Marquette. What did they end up doing?
I think that they won. I think they played them all.
They play NCAA.
They're still playing, aren't they? Yeah. Yes. Y'all thought I was nuts.
I don't know if I said it or not. I don't remember.
Chris, I think it was Chris.
It was probably Chris.
You see, Ron Rhodes said, Jarvis, your daughter could come and play for me.
It's undue influence.
I was going to say, isn't that what that is?
Yeah, that is undue influence.
It is recorded.
I am taking that segment and keeping it for my own use later.
There you go.
So,
he said, "Are we just talking about men's?" Well, I mean,
we're
going to talk about women's. What are we talking about? Iowa?
All the high seeds winning.
Yeah, and that's normal. Okay, so we could take 10 seconds here on the West Virginia Iowa game, because I've seen some memes and I've seen some comments about that, about how if Jarvis was making a comparison, he would say, man, Iowa was probably a little bit like going down to St. Vincent and getting a little Valroyd in terms of the discrepancy of free throws, because I think Iowa had something like 30 some odd free throws to West Virginia's 4 or something like that.
West Virginia kept fouling.
But the whole talk is like, oh, the NCAA, it's conspiracy. They've got to get Caitlin Clark to
they want Caitlin Clark to get as far as she can get. Let's be real.
Right?
Money.
None of this is rigged anymore, right?
You don't listen. You can't. The women's the women's bracket really needs the UConns and the Iowas, and it's a great bracket. They play great basketball, but the names, the recognizable names, are what drive the non-common fans to
be
watch
real.
those games.
Caitlin Clark is driving a lot of fans.
So, but I mean, you could even you throw Paige Beckers into that. That's a pretty recognizable name. Angel Reese and the LSU teams, and Kim Mulkey and her Haley Van Lith. Those they drive people.
No, Mulkey's
non-normal fans.
Antics. Period.
Well, I mean, but it's must-watch TV.
Yeah,
Maybe
and even talking about the women's game. I mean, you go back just a couple years ago, Mississippi State, that when they were doing things, Louisville. So, I mean, it's kind of cyclical. Even in Notre Dame on the women's side, it just, you've got the Genos that have been doing it for decades. And, you know, you've got the Stanford and the teams that have been around for decades. But yeah, now you've got South Carolina with Staley and all of the players. I just think it shows, though, when you compare the guys and the girls, that there's I guess maybe a discrepancy in the women's game, or just in the girls' side, that like if you get 4 or 5 really good players and you only have one on the other side, I mean you can't, it's hard to compete. And so on the guys' side, go ahead.
What do you think of Staley at South Carolina?
I think it's a machine.
I think she's one hell of a basketball coach.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's
I'm not sure. I think she's a good coach. I just don't know that I like her antics, but I think she's a good coach.
Well, it's no different than what's her face at LSU now, Mulkey.
I'm not a Mulkey fan at all.
But people would say a lot of those same things about some of the older school guys coaches that are, you know, Bobby Knight, really good basketball coach, really tired of his antics at times.
Yeah,
as long as you're winning, everything's fine.
Yes,
I couldn't get tired of Bobby Knight.
Listen, if Dawn Staley was going 15-15 every year at South Carolina, she wouldn't be going 15-15 at South Carolina anymore. She is able to do the things, and coaches are able to do the things they're doing because she's going 29-1. Or 28-2 and playing for national titles every year. And you can say the same thing about Kim Mulkey in all of those names. So,
yeah. And it again, you talk about her as a coach. I mean, obviously just a great recruiter. And again, it's so top heavy. The women's game is that why don't you see the 5-12 upsets? Why don't you see the 14-3
it's
upset?
such a difference,
right? And so I mean, it's just the way it is if you're comparing the guys' game and the girls' game. But hopefully over time, you know, like this year is a great year where there's been a ton of publicity. There's, you know, maybe it helps grow the game of you know, women's basketball, and maybe down the line you see some of that. I mean
the men's game now just has so much NIL money being thrown around.
The portal is such a bigger deal in the men's game than it is.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of people that go, a lot of females athletes, especially basketball athletes, go into the portal. But on the men's side, it is just an astronomical change.
Oh, it's absolutely insane.
So you say that
showed a couple of weeks ago when we tried to name 5 of the best men's players versus name women's players, and we could way more easily name women's players because they stay in the better ones stay in the same spot.
And they're staying in the same spot. They're more marketable. Yeah. But you brought up NIL. So, and again, Chris would have to fact check this, but seeing it on the internet, so you don't know if it's true or not, but they said that the NBA is going to do away with the G League because of NIL, because those players are going to wind up staying in college, and it's just not the cost analysis or benefit just doesn't work anymore because they can't pay those dudes what they're going to get if they're going to college. So it's kind of a reversal of why the G League was started, because the G League was started because players couldn't get paid at college. Now that they can, there's no reason to have a G League.
Well, at some point, I know you guys are both history teachers, and I'm not a science teacher, but I'm going to try to do this the best I can. The pendulum will swing back in the other direction at some point. But what will be the effect of that pendulum swinging back?
Yeah, I mean, and I saw this, and it it was a video clip talking about, it was on the football side, but it's going to happen in football, basketball, to where at the end of the day, when the season is over and that player is going to come into the coach's office, they're going to sit down and write their number and say, slide it across the way and say, this is the number to keep me here. Match it or I leave.
Which is absurd because according to NCAA rules, the coach is not supposed to have any say or anything when it comes to those NIL deals. Mm-hmm. But they're being forced into those positions. And I think that's where the coaches are having some problems with, is because, listen, this was supposed to be done as like whatever, but now we've got these, this isn't even like sponsorship deals anymore. This is collectives where they're just handing them money.
Yeah, it's pay to play.
But the school and the coaches aren't supposed to have any control or contact over that. Right. So the coaches are like, the player shouldn't be coming to me and say it'll take this. Mm-hmm. They should be going to Happy down at his car dealership,
right,
to try to get, or whatever business he had, to try to get that money from them.
Well, and the NCAA is going to fumble it, because if they were smart enough, they would just go ahead and get behind the idea and say, look, you're going to be under contract with the university, and then that way the university can negotiate with you. And then if you wanted to bring in the taxes, and if you wanted to bring in antitrust, and you wanted to unionize and blah, 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 just go ahead and get to that point. So like you said, if Jarvis is the coach, he can sit here and say, hey, go take it to the financial guy. Take it down to him. You guys negotiate. I want you here. Hopefully you want to be here. And then that's that. It's out of their hands. And then they can figure that out. I mean, I saw a story where it was one of the basketball teams where they said, hey, don't give me my scholarship money. I'm making X amount on NIL deals. Give my scholarship to somebody else. Yeah. And they did that.
So essentially become a walk-on.
Right.
Now, I would love the NCAA to just look at some of this and say, listen, you can either have the portal or you can have your NIL. You can't have both. And say, listen, you want your NIL deal, that's fine, but you're tied to that school. Maybe give you transfer.
I don't like that. I don't like it because you don't do that with the coaches. And we live in America, and America is all about capitalism. So I'm all for that. I'm all for capitalism.
It's not like you're tying them to them like as indentured servants for the next 50 years. It's 2 or 3. It's 3 years, maybe 4.
But okay, let's look at this. Let's look at the dude on UConn. I think it's UConn's point guard. He started out as a scrub-a-dub on some no-name D1 team, okay? And then he transferred to a second school, somewhat of a mid-major, and then now he's transferred to UConn. He's on this number 1 team. And probably going to go to the NBA and make millions of dollars. So if you make that rule that he's tied to that scrub-a-dub school and he's only going to get one move, then he's out his future. And so to me, I look at it as,
but he's making money,
but he's not making what he could be.
Then make a better decision coming out of high school.
But if that's, you only get what you get coming out. And so I'm not going to sit here and put regulation on it, because again, I look at it, it's capitalism. If the coaches can go, then the players could go. If the university's making millions and millions of dollars off of me as a player, and I'm part of this athletic program, then hey, you know what? I want my piece of the pie as well.
Yeah, and then I would have, my balance to that would be to do what you said, Zach, is put them under contract with the university. And if I'm a university, I'm making it a 4-year contract that can be negotiated out. You're going to buy us out or those types of things. You're going to be a student and you're going to play basketball, follow these regulations. Mm-hmm. And you can benefit for yourself, and we can benefit. You can benefit from us, and we can benefit from you.
Well,
and go from there. And then it's like the coaches. And hey, guess what? We're not going to release you from your contract. You're stuck here.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, thanks to NIL and all this stuff. I mean, Mizzou just landed the number 22nd shooter from the 2023-24 campaign, and Jacob Cruz. He played at UT Martin this year, where he shot 41.4% from 3. He's 6'8" guard. He's a 6'8" wingman, and the Skyhawks were 21-11 and won their first. I think it was the program's like second conference title in like 15 or 20 years, and good pickup for Mizzou. They need a shooter, and now they need a point guard and a big man. Yeah. But they needed a shooter, and this is what it does. I also I love Mizzou sports. So you guys know Mizzou, they have assistant coach David Dickey Nutt. They call him They call him Dickey though, but he's been at like SEMO. He's been all over the place.
His brother was the football coach at both Ole Miss and Arkansas. Houston Nutt.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
he football coaches at those two. His brother was, but
so he was a head assistant coach. Blah blah blah. But he has a rare cancer, tumor cancer. So they're moving him to. He's still going to be a part of the team. Still going to be a coach, but more of a video coordinator type deal.
Like player development or something.
Yeah, player development. And I'll tell you what, we've met him and Gates 2 years ago in Chicago at the coaching clinic. And Nutt was so fun to talk to, man. And then we saw him at the coaching clinic, and he just sat there and talked to us forever. What a great dude, man.
And they're doing that, because he needed to step back for his treatment.
Yeah,
but he did not want to hold back the team by taking up a coaching spot to be able, still keep. So they're keeping him in the program, but opening up a spot to be able to go hire a coach.
Yeah, to get another coach. So
I think it's just cool all the way around that they were able to make it work.
It's awesome
that
Mizzou's working with them, and and it just I was glad to see them get Jacob Cruz, and they need to add a couple more players.
They got a tremendous recruiting class coming in.
You add some of these, and it may not happen next year, but I think they're going to be better than they were this year.
I don't think next year they're going to be as reliant on that the portal class coming in when they have that freshman class and some of the younger ones, as long as they stick around. Normally, you'd hear some of those kids that, like the freshmen this year, that if they were going to transfer, they would have already
put their name on.
They would have kind of, even though the portal's not really open right now, they would have already said they're going to enter the portal.
Going to declare.
Yeah.
Well, and you go back to the whole NIL deal. I'll go, and Kevin, you talked about the contracts. I'll say this from the football side of things and the bowls. I think where I would agree with you on that is to say, look, we're going to sign a contract. You're going to get your NIL money. You have to play in the bowl game. And I think that makes all of the different games matter more, and it helps the programs.
Your opt out of the bowl will be contingent on a buyout. So if you're opting out because you're going to go play in the NFL, this is non-injury related, by the way. If you're injured, we're not doing that. But if you're going to opt out because you're going to go get ready for the NFL, then you're going to pay us a portion of what that NFL signing bonus or whatever would be, and that would all be part of the contract. So if you want to opt out to go do that, that's fine, but you're going to owe us part of this contractually.
Yeah. So. And I think that's a way, at least on the football side, to make the game better. But if you're going to sit here and say kind of what you talked about in terms of, well, we're going to lock you into these 2, 3, 4 year deals, then you just go literally right back to where you were before the NIL, and you're going to wind up having guys get money under the table just to go to their school.
But there is no money under the table at this point. Everything, the NIL has put everything on top of the table right in front of everybody. I'm just saying that if we're going to do this, let's try to find a way to do it so that it doesn't get out of control. And I'm not saying you're just going to lock them in. I'm going to say like, hey, there are some stipulations in which you can get out of this. Like if we make a coaching change, you're free to go. You can throw those types of stipulations into a contract for a student athlete to do that. But just because you didn't feel at the right place,
right?
Then you should have made a better decision coming out of high school and not let your Uncle Bud tell you which was the place that you needed to go.
Number 6, Clemson defeats Arizona.
All right, man. That busted my bracket.
And rest of the
77 to 72.
I watched the first half, man. You talk about Clemson was on fire.
Fire, yes. Yeah. And Arizona just can never catch up. And it's like Clemson's first time in the Elite Eight in like forever. I don't know how many years, but
and then you said UConn. I didn't realize it. Okay, Jarvis, you're probably right. I didn't see that they waxed San Diego State
by 30.
By 30. This was a rematch of last year's national championship game, which they said, I think this is the third time that's happened in several decades where you have two teams play each other in the national championship game. And then the next year they play each other again at some point in the tournament. Yeah. But 30.
What's Alabama North Carolina games going back and forth,
Which games? So, which of the remaining Elite Eight games do you think you're most interested in seeing?
Well,
I want to see the Illinois Iowa State game, man.
Yeah.
I want to see Houston and Duke.
Let's go Duke. I mean, that's my team, but Houston. Yeah.
And the other one that is the dark horse one is Purdue Gonzaga. I think could be a really good game as well.
Gonzaga looked really good.
Okay, so here's your other stat. They said Gonzaga is the only team to make it to the Sweet 16. I think like 7 years in a row. Yeah. So you've got to.
They're not a mid-major anymore.
No.
They were the 2 seed and they got bounced out of their conference tournament by St. Mary. But
if they have a football program, they're in one of the top 5 conferences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they're Vanderbilt in football.
Yeah,
they're in one of the top 5 conferences.
I'm gonna have to switch back and forth. Illinois is out to fast start up 14-6.
Yeah. So I mean, that's going to be. We'll see if Purdue, if they can exercise their demons and try and get to an Elite Eight. I know they talked about this is their revenge tour, and I mean they played well the first we'll call it last weekend because you're talking Thursday through Sunday. So I mean, if you're looking at it, I mean, are you Jarvis? You just saying UConn again? I mean, they're just rolling.
UConn looks really good, man.
How many of your Final Four picks from last week are still in it?
Well, until about an hour ago, I had all 4.
I've got 3 remaining. Arizona's my one that's not.
Oh, I don't have any because I didn't fill in one.
But we talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
If you would have picked your 4.
Yeah.
You remember who you picked?
I picked Marquette was one of them. You guys all laughed at me. And I said Illinois I thought was going to make it pretty far too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've still got Illinois, Houston, and Tennessee.
Dude, Tennessee's that sleeper too, man.
Tremendous guard play.
They'll have a tough matchup with Creighton. How about the feel good Cinderella story of NC State as the 11 seed? They got the big bruising post player that he's got the lefty finish.
I'm not a fan of him. I just don't like that type of basketball, I guess. I don't know.
Jarvis is swept up in the threes. Just give me all the threes.
No, I'm not swept up in the threes, but
coach the system next year.
Brunell?
You just do it. All right, guys. At 5 seconds, we got to take a 3-pointer. I don't care where you're at. Volleyball line threes.
You got 12. You got 8 seconds to get a shot up.
I'm gonna have some kids. I got some kids that can shoot the 3.
Do it. Hey, and you brought up Caitlin Clark a while ago. Let's go ahead and give her the respect that is due. I mean, it takes an athlete some strength to pull up logo threes the way she does, and how silky smooth it is. And I mean, outside of and again, I know it's just high school ball. Outside of watching Hayden Sprinkle shoot like that, outside of
that was the one that I brought to mind at times because I just watching him do that.
My gosh,
Eli Sample,
Sprinkle in North County scored 90 something against me down at the fucking Christmas tournament. I'm just sitting there going, God, is this ever going to get over? I was like on the bench. I looked at Buddy. I'm like, can Sprinkle miss? He missed.
Can they sub him out at some point?
Oh,
don't know if Jimmy would. So.
Oh, that's who it was.
I do think this probably a little early, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hayden winds up taking over the boys head boys.
Oh, he will be. So we added them at the very end of the season. We should have won that game, by the way. But anyway, we added them. We played a pretty good game in the second half. We should have won that game. Anyway, me and Hayden talked for like 45 minutes while both teams were warming up. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
I hope he does get it. I mean, his dad's doing it right now. I mean,
I think his dad stepped down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Both the boys and the girls are open or were open. So
I would hope that's who they're giving it to. But dude, Jimmy was coaching from the bleachers during our game. I swear. He was watching Mac's game on his phone because his wife and yelling stuff at the kids because they were shooting at our end of the first half, and he was just yelling at them. It was funny. Like, man, can't get the coach out of him, and I can't say nothing. When Jill's out there, I shout a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a good Sweet 16, Elite 8. We'll find out who the Final Four is going to wind up being. I guess Sunday evening, and
we'll next week's show we'll talk a lot about the upcoming Final Four.
Well, heck yeah, we better. We're basketball coaches. Gosh damn it, we ain't gonna want to talk about the Cardinals. They'll be like 0 for 8 by then.
I don't know if that's how the days of the week work when it comes to this, but we'll also have a little bit of maybe some preseason XFL talk because the Battlehawks start on April 6th.
Oh my goodness!
Hey.
Sorry, my bad. Not XFL, the UFL.
Is that what it's called?
April 6th. That's a very significant date.
It's a Monday, isn't it?
A lot of great people born that day.
Mrs. Coach Jarvis,
right?
It is not a Monday. Monday is the 8th. So that is Saturday the 6th. I will be at Piedmont, Missouri, fishing on Clearwater Lake. Yes, sir. I'm going to catch some fish or I'm going to catch something.
A cold. Hopefully it's not rainy and cold there.
Oh, I hope not. Either way, it's going to be a good time. Get about 4 days at Piedmont. Hey, spring break, dude. We didn't have a spring break like this last year. It's so awesome. A week off. That's awesome. It'll be so hard to go back on the 8th, but we'll get to go outside and look at the eclipse.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. The 8th, that's that Monday. Are you guys off? Because I think we're doing a half day.
We're half day in regular schedule. Like we're going to go to all of your classes and then we're going to release and go to the football field and wear our glasses and watch it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
that's
So I think we're closing our I think we're going half day and then we're closing our campus and we want everybody off the campus and then practices can start again at like 3:30 or something like that. So
go down
to fun. I mean, we're getting all the kids' classes. We're why not?
Science teachers loving this stuff, aren't they?
Oh yeah, our science teachers are putting out a presentation before we do it. Yep.
I remember it the last time. I mean, we took the day off school.
There were people parked on our football field. Yeah, I remember.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I don't know if you remember wherever you're at, but we were on the concrete in the driveway at home, and you could see the little. I don't know. It's not worms, but I mean a little
like the solar flares type
right?
of thing. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like those fireworks that have the tails. Piedmont is supposedly one of the biggest spots for it.
Yeah, we had a couple of parents that have said that, hey, my kid just won't be there that day. We're going because Poplar Bluff is apparently supposed to be like 100%.
Yeah, down there is supposed to be.
So there's a bunch of parents that are driving down that way with their kids so they can go see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty neat thing. I'm kind of glad we're in school because I bet a lot of our kids don't even understand what the heck it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be kind of cool we got some really good science teachers. Miss Graves is one of the best, Miss Dow, and they do a great job there. And they're going to do a little presentation. Then we're all going to go out and watch it, I think.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that'll be kind of cool.
But
all right.
So, well, it is at the end of our evening.
Oh, yeah. It's an hour and 34 minutes. We got to get out, man.
Yeah.
I got some basketball.
Jim would have been out 20 minutes ago.
Right. He just left.
He was
he just doesn't show. He's a no-show.
He was out an hour and 40 minutes ago. What are you talking about?
So we'll be back next week for episode 184. We are 16 weeks away from 200 episodes.
Can we make it?
Yes. And Ron Rhodes gave more contributions than Jim Powers and Miller. So
combined
tonight, we got to get Ron Rhodes back on the show. Maybe we'll talk about trash bags again.
I was gonna say he's only if he tells more stories.
Well, yeah, we need to get. You know what we need to do? We need to get him and Al Davis at the same time. Could you imagine that show?
We'll just turn all of our cameras off and just let those two go at it. Yes.
Let them two go.
We'll let Miller stay on with them.
Talk old DeSoto times, and we'll just sit here and go, "Wow, you guys
stuff,
got away with.
You got to do that? What?
You really can say that? Like, really? I mean, you got up in there." I will never forget that episode ever.
So, all right. Well, guys, you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Nope.
Hey, thanks for everybody watching. This was episode 183, as Kevin said, and we're free as we're always going to be free at Off the Rails Media. Thanks for watching the Coach's Box.
Peace, everybody. Oh, crap. Where's the ends at? There it is.
Uh-oh. Where's the red button?
This episode of the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.